民跟后国，中央人民政府今天胜利了。
但是你们能不能？
刚才也问我啊，我可以回半点去，无可奉告。你们也不高兴。
哎，什么叫中国共产党啊？党叫干啥就干啥。
黑夜即将到来，一定要做好准备。
但是。
干死共产党！不干死共产党，绝不罢休！
消灭中共是正义的需要。
Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to CCP Expose. And today we're going to discuss three very interesting topics. And again, we have Nina, Mr. Truce, and Chris with us today. It's great to have all of you. Hi, Nina.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to join today's show and continue our revelation journey. Thank you.
Excellent. Next is Mr. Truce, 007.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here and join the program Exposing the CCP. Thank you.
And also a very familiar friend, Chris.
Hi, Z and everyone. And everyone watching the TV. I'm happy to be on the show again today. Thank you.
Excellent. Let's get into our topics today. So there have been a lot of turbulent events globally, and one of them especially is around the Middle East, the Iran event. And let's look at some videos from NFSC and talk about, what's the role of CCP behind this and what shall we do? Let's take a look.
Patrolling the South China Sea and the Taiwan Straits is now going through the Straits of Malacca through the Indian Ocean to the North Arabian Sea to be the third carrier positioned off Persia, sometime tomorrow, I think, or the next day, to be there for potential action. How is the CCP working with the Persians? Are they trying to draw the Americans into the situation to take our eye off the ball for Taiwan, and particularly the invasion here in the United States? Is just as happenstance, or is this work towards the Chinese Communist Party's plan, which is to destroy America? Sir.
Okay, absolutely. That's their plan, is to destroy the American. Whether they are trying to distract American to relocate their military asset to Middle East, I think we have to rely on the intelligence to tell us that. But absolutely, their goal is to destroy American. That's for sure. We see that already. This situation in Taiwan definitely will create a power vacuum and also expose Taiwan more. But my question to everybody is, even if we have our military there, will the CCP still attack? I think the answer is yes, because we are already in the war with Chinese Communist Party, which is the unrestricted warfare. Right now, what we are seeing today is more than just a crisis. I think it's an opportunity for Iranian people and Chinese people to really regain their freedom and democracy. Because right now, everybody can see the dictatorship is really just a paper tiger. They cannot survive with the real fight. That's why what we see there in what happens in Israel and Iran. And the Iran people, as soon as they realize they are repressed by this regime for 50, 70 years, they will start to fight back and overthrow this dictatorship. They will regain their power. And this situation happening in Iran actually is a nightmare for CCP, because the leader in Iran portrayed themselves as a god. Xi Jinping does the same thing. He portrayed himself as a god to rule the 1.4 billion Chinese people. So what they are doing right now in China, they tightly control the media and using their propaganda power won't let people know what is really happening in Iran. They are still propaganda. On the media tell the Chinese people that Iran is invincible and the American is losing, because they are afraid that the Chinese people know the real truth. That is, the regime, the totalitarian regime, can be overthrown by the people. Look at Israel.
Wow.
If the Israel in this fight, 96% of their people standing with their government. But the Iran people, only less than 10% of their people support this war. That's the dictatorship. They rule their people by fear and by the cruelty. So that's why I think right now we are witnessing the opportunity presented for the Chinese people and Iran people to overthrow those dictatorships.
I want to get to. I want to ask Roy a question about the Russian and the Chinese alliance, but I got to ask you, because Persia and the Chinese Communist Party the mullahs have a pretty tight relationship. They're shipping, I don't know, somewhere north of 2 million barrels a day. There's talks now of airstrikes down in those oil fields. There was a ship today in the Straits of Hormuz that was blocking things for a while. How important is it to the regime in Beijing to get that 2 million barrels a day from the regime in Tehran, sir?
Absolutely. That's very critical for the Chinese Communist Party. First of all, that almost account for 15 to 20% of their oil imports from foreign overseas. And also they got that oil very cheap compared to the other source. They got that cheap from Iran. So that's very important. So without that energy supply, it definitely will create a lot of pressure within the government. And also the important thing is, this is what they built, one belt, one road. They create the BRIC with all the Russian and other BRIC countries, try to use the currency exchange to relieve the sanction U.S. and Western country put on Iran, and also to benefit the CCP themselves. So this border effect for the one belt, one road, and also all their economic currency strategy, actually this situation is a big hit for them. So I think this is critical for the Chinese Communist Party. What's happening in Iran, and they lose this energy supply, and most importantly, they lose the strategically their plan and their strategy, which is very heavy hit for them.
This is also central to this whole BRIC situation, is the situation between Persia and the Chinese Communist Party, because they're taking payments not in petrodollars but in or U.S. currency. They're taking it in yuan with a hedge around it. Breaking news: President Trump. They put a lid on things. President Trump is not expected.
I think the military operation in Iran last week by President Trump is very successful. You know, it destroyed or significantly delayed the nuclear program in Iran for many years, and that's very good for the safety of Middle East, and also a big hit for the CCP. And as Forrest has pointed out, you know, the CCP is trying to making problems around the world. And let's start with Nina. So what's your takeaway from this video?
Yeah, sure. Mr. Bannon mentioned about the CCP is trying to destroy America. Actually, they constantly trying to destroy the US dollar by de-dollarize the US currency. And we all understand in the Middle East, it has a lot of energy, the crude oil or the natural gas. And this is the critical supply to every nation. And this Iran is the geopolitical critical situation among other Gulf nations, especially this Hormuz Strait. And it is basically is a kind of the lifeline of the oil supply, not only to CCP, but also to Europe as well. And if Iran is taking control of this whole region, Iran literally could force other nations, to use the other currency as the transaction currency. For example, like the Chinese yuan. And this is really why it's making sense that Trump is taking the action to destroy all the military, the nuclear facilities. And this is literally remove all the threats to other Gulf nations. Once Iran is achieved the goal to have the nuclear power, they can really to force other nations to work together with CCP. And Iran is kind of the proxy of the CCP. So once those regions not using the US dollar as the trading currency, is literally achieving their goal to de-dollarize the US currency. And this is also kind of removing the dollar's, the influence in the world. And we can see like the CCP working together with other BRIC nations. They're trying to work in Brazil. They're trying to work with, for example, other nations, and trying to convince them to accepting the digital Chinese RMB digital currency, and also using the RMB as the currency to trade the oil. So it is really the breakthrough what happened last week, and we have seen a lot of change over the past days. And as Mel said, this is the big achievement to take down the CCP. And we will see the situation develop further in the next couple of weeks. The situation probably dramatically will develop further. Thank you. Back to you.
Awesome, very nice. Now next is Mr. Truth.
Yeah. Thank you, Nina, for your discussion. So what I can say from that is that number one, whatever Iran is doing, dealing with the CCP, they have been exporting oil to the equivalent of about 15 to 20% of Chinese domestic needs. Okay, they're taking probably the rest of the 80% from elsewhere. So Iran been a long-term so-called friends, because they are all dictatorship and they have the same value system. They're trying to screw and suppress their own people, to keep the regime going. Number three, they're trying to also make secret dealings between leaders, between two dictators, used to be continuously. And so it is the joint. They been part of the Russia, CCP, and Iran. The evil Axis 3. So now Iran has been really hit terribly with with U.S. mighty military forces joined with Israel together. So that is seen number one. I see it as a defensive act, okay, for the West, the United States and Israel to defend the petrodollar. Okay, so without the petrodollar, the U.S. dollars will be weakened. Once that is weakened, then that means the purchasing power of parity compared with the other nations' currencies, such as European, Japan, and Middle East as well. But that will be weakened. That cannot be allowed. I know the Americans, been the number one military force and also economically number one in the GDP. They have to defend the US dollar in order to keep the value high, so they can continuously to enjoy the strongest purchasing power of parity. Okay, so they can get to buy basically anything they want to once people are using US dollars through, whether through the SWIFT system for foreign trade, which according to my score, they can charge something like 7 trillion US dollars. You can use that as a commission by using US dollars worldwide trade for that $200 million a year per trade among the world countries. So that's number one, because by let the CCP involving in it, but now this time what we're seeing is in the surface, in the media, we can only get information from media. When the B2 bombed, okay, the 3 nuclear refinement underground, the CCP didn't say much. And Russia also just mentioned, that shouldn't be doing that. So no one come out to say, hey, we're going to help our young brother. Come on, let's send some missiles back to the United States and Israel. No. Think about the 3 brothers are fighting with the United States, but then the one been almost killed, and the 2 are said nothing. So they're not really brothers. When the dictator get together, they only fear about their own regime, how they can rule their own country, and then maybe put up a show to see how strong they are. But by then they're paper tiger, according to Moscow. So they're just paper tigers, and we see that in this time very clearly that if the CCP dare to do anything against the United States, I think President Trump said the way we can do the same again if anyone wanted to threaten U.S. asset or threaten the United States. But have said that, the CCP have been engaging unrestricted warfare to the United States. They have intentionally released the fentanyls to kill Americans, like somewhat 80,000 people a year, number one. And they also have released, the COVID-19, while they locked down the whole Wuhan city's flight, flow to the rest of the China. But then they allowed Wuhan's international flight to fly to New York, to Tokyo, to London, then spread the viruses. So we know how many people died, right? So these are the different form of warfare, apart from kinetic warfare in World War I and II, the chemical warfare, biological warfare, and also information warfare, psychological warfare. But remind you once again, about a couple of years ago, there's a balloon flying across the United States, from the northeast to the west. It takes them like 7 days to work out whether should we shoot down or not shoot down. So obviously, you can see, been such a number one mighty country military, but the U.S. didn't do anything until 6-7 days later, they shoot it down to the river. But that to me is unbelievable. So that means, but I think that also alerted the United States. Since then, we see a lot of so-called dragon inducement technology being used to use vessels to hit the bridge, I think in Maryland. And all these kind of things show it's kind of continuous irritations, military threatening in the United States. So this time they dare to say anything too strongly, I only mentioned in the foreign ministry, I think Wang Yi said, I think both sides should be, more calm, and we want to see the peace as well. That's too surprising to the rest of the world, especially to whistleblowers. We thought the CCP is really going to stand up and use whatever the resources that they have planned around the United States and the West, and maybe have a go with that. No, they didn't fight one bullet shot. That shows how scared CCP is themselves. What they're thinking when that happened already. The bombings happened on that night in the morning, 3 a.m. local time. All they're saying is that, well, thank God, please don't send to Beijing, don't kill the Zhongnanhai, okay? And that's what they worry about. I think they only worry about their own survival, barely, and they definitely not daring to try and attack the United States and defend the brothers of the three evil, them. And the Penang, okay, Jin Yong-shen said, I'm going to drop out my my uranium refinery. In other words, we're not going to create some concentrates to make nuclear bombs. We're going to now stand back. I mean, that's Jin Sampang said that. Okay, so you can see they are all chicken out. So that is an absolute winning of God in the evil. That's what I think. Thank you. Back to you, Ji.
Excellent. Definitely, it's a very encouraging event, and hopefully more and more good news will happen. And now to the Chris, and you can talk about what's the CCP's ultimate goal and what might be the impact on Taiwan. Thank you.
Okay, so the ultimate goal of the CCP is to destroy the United States and break through the First Island chain, making the takeover of Taiwan a necessity. Even with U.S. military personnel and the American Institute in Taiwan present, the CCP will ultimately launch an attack on Taiwan. AIT has been in Taiwan for 46 years, indicates that the US has an intelligence network here. Despite this, the CCP continues to presently infiltrate Taiwan, including infiltrating the legislative yuan in Taiwan. All these actions are preparations for the CCP to successfully take over Taiwan. When the CCP's domestic economic and political pressure become unsustainable and its tactics of unrestricted warfare through infiltration in Taiwan fail, the CCP will attempt to seize Taiwan through a kinetic war. So the CCP is creating chaos worldwide, hoping to overwhelm the United States. The CCP believes the US cannot handle 3 wars simultaneously: the Russia-Ukraine war, the Israel-Iran conflict, and a potential US civil war. However, President Trump has skillfully diffused this crisis. The Russia-Ukraine war has reached a stalemate due to U.S. mediations. The no-kings protests have failed. The surprise bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities was a flawless operation, a textbook example of tactical executions. There were no U.S. casualties, and it avoided entailing American soldiers in a prolonged war. Unlike the reckless sacrifice of U.S. troops under Biden, Obama, Bush Jr., and Bush Sr., Iran's nuclear facilities were completely destroyed, uniting American public opinion. The majority of Americans across both parties oppose Iran possessing nuclear weapons. Those who mocked President Trump as tackle can now shut up. This precision strike also thoroughly deterred the CCP's leadership while igniting hope among the Chinese people. The Chinese people hope for the decapitation of the CCP leadership and like a future Iran, a transition to a democratic rule of law and free nations. So the current CCP leader is on edge, never expecting President Trump to actually carry out this mission. If Iran's pro-CCP regime is toppled and oil supplies shift to dollar pricing, it will significantly complicate an invasion of Taiwan. The CCP is in an awkward position with mounting economic and political pressure and nowhere to vent. Attacking Taiwan risks a decapitation strike by U.S. force, but whether they fight or not, the CCP face the fate of collapse. Thank you.
Excellent. And hopefully we're going to see this collapse very soon. Definitely very encouraging event for both the democracy in the West and also the people still living in communist China. Okay, let's go to the next one. We're talking about the truth about the 2020 election and the CCP's roles behind it. And the truth is coming to the surface now.
President Trump was somebody who was going to have the back, not just of the American people, but also Lao Beijing. Your thoughts, ma'am?
Absolutely. So first of all, there's two main parts of my answer. First, look at those Southeast Asian countries. The best example we just witnessed is South Korea. What happened to those elections? In those nations that has severe influence or controlled completely by the CCP, you will see power outage, you will see electronic system glitches, and you will see various innovative disruptions that basically interrupts the voting process and also the voting counting process, including voter fraud. That's exactly what happened. So this is a pattern. If you're looking at any countries that is pro-CCP and pro-Russia, you will see the same playbook and being played again and again. Because, you know, simply put that way, the CCP does not have election. We don't elect the Chinese Communist Party. So they govern through deception and fraud, and they will mess up with those nations that have elections. That's what happened in 2020 election. And I give you the best answer. So if you really want to know whether the CCP is behind Biden's election in 2020, just look at what happened after Biden came into office. Who is the most hated enemies in the United States of Chinese Xi Jinping? I told you previously, there's 5 people that Xi Jinping hated the most. And the number 1 is Trump, President Trump. The number 2, Stephen Bannon, Peter Navarro, and Rudy Giuliani. And the last one is Miles Guo. So just look at the 5 of you, the fate since Biden came into the power. What happened to you? I mean, think about the laptop from hell. You have covered this topic in the countless interviews on this great podcast that CCP feared the most. You, the information about laptop from hell, the Hunter Biden laptop, was first broken out on GTV Media. Okay, GTV Media is alternative media, it's anti-CCP media that was created by and supported by this follower of the whistleblower movement. And you were briefly the director on the board of the GTV, and Rudy Giuliani involved in the laptop, Hunter Biden laptop. And then guess what happened to all of you? You went to jail, and you have legal cases going on. Peter Navarro went to jail. Rudy Giuliani bankrupt. Trump, I mean, he's still facing, if all those cases against him are winning at the end, he's facing like hundreds of years in jail. And Miles Guo today still sitting 825th day in jail in NDC. And this is what the payback of Xi Jinping is getting. This is a quid pro quo. Xi Jinping would not help Biden without expecting any return. So the best way forward, if Americans really want the truth, very simple. Assign a special prosecutor. They don't have to look far. Yep. Just look at 5 of you, all the cases that you each have, and investigate and you will bring all the light in terms of whether or not Xi Jinping and the CCP was behind any of those. It's very simple and straightforward.
Those are 5, and yes, they should be done eventually. But I think, given what we're seeing today, and John Solomon's going to be back on tomorrow, and then I'm going to have the team of Forrest and the team for New Federal State either back on tomorrow night or Thursday night to drill in on this more. You have to start to adjudicate the 2020 election steal. It must happen. Now, it's providential. They stole it, although it was horrible for the country because
I think the evidence is there almost undeniable, although the mainstream media and many other DOJs do not investigating. But the more shocking thing is people don't realize the role of CCP behind it. I think that's what we're exposing this truth again, to see the evilness of the CCP. And what's your opinion on this, Nina?
Yes, Miles mentioned in the past that who you are depends on who your enemies are. And we understand Donald Trump has the greatest enemy is the CCP. CCP is not weak. CCP is strong. But because they are strong, it will make the Donald Trump the next great president of United States after the George Washington and Lincoln. So in the past, Mr. Miles will revealed or send out a lot of warnings to the Western world. And they were a little bit shocked. I mean, they're hard to believe these absurd and outrageous warnings, but this is real. Of course, they didn't take action to prevent it happen, but they were precautious. They were defended to the CCP's unrestricted warfares, and we could already seen over the past 8 years how they carry out those attacks. Either by the lawfare or the cyber attack or the financial warfare and so on, and the chemical warfare like the virus and the fentanyl. So now America is wake up. Everybody's understand their method how to destroy your nation, and we have seen the FBI director already showing the evidence. CCP has really interfered with the American election, and now is the time they will take action to take down the CCP. And without finish this final goal, they will not stop it.
Yeah, I think definitely CCP is still trying to disturb all the U.S. elections and many other daily lives. And okay, now let's go to Mr. Truth.
Yeah, definitely the 2020 election was stolen, and the evidence is mountain. I think I remember that the U.S. Customs confiscate so many big bags of Chinese drive license, painted, sent from China into United States with names and people on it. And they found out that those names are these aliens' names and fake names and so on. So that was used to create the ID where, to trying to interfere with the American the election results. But how they do it, and it's just by basically adding more names on it with the fake ID. Okay, that happens so many times. So we hear then there everywhere, all different part of America, then you just receive those from mail. Okay, most of them are not stopped. Okay. Don't know whether it's internal work intentionally coordinated with the CCP. Okay, they can do that very easily. Okay, by saying what they have done. What's the motivation? The motivation is definitely is to let Biden win the election, where we let Trump lost the election. I think now evidence find out that President Trump probably won 2020. By like at least 7.5%, according to the commentators after they see the evidence. So, but unfortunately, the time is gone. You cannot really reverse back to the old time. I think this is why if Americans doesn't sort this out, doesn't ask the accountability of the CCP, who is the origin of this interference. By interference, provide the false ID. That's like a treason or something, which is a death sentence. So that's one death sentence the CCP owes to American people altogether. Okay, for the lost 4 or 5 years of the past, and which they have, together with the deep state, has stolen so much wealth from the United States, and not only that, I mean, create the chaos. So that's a classical example of the methodology to implement the 3F plan, okay, which is ferment the chaos, then create the dust in the United States, use fentanyl and many other means as well. So that's just showing who is your enemy. Okay, doesn't matter. I mean, we're not really interested in American politics. However, whether you are a Uni Party or Progress Party or Conservative Party, it doesn't matter. By the end of the day, you may get some money. Okay, you may get some fame and you may get some wealth, of course. But the CCP's goal is to destroy the whole American system, where you might have to spell out whatever you get financially. And as Miles ago said, they're going to come and sleep with your wives, with your daughters, and so you're going to be enslaved by the CCP. That's what they done to the 1.5 billion Chinese people. They're still doing that. Okay, so I think the world, especially United States and Western countries, should wake up by study all the evidences and how CCP have infiltrated the 20 United States, and then help Biden to steal, to stolen the whole 2020 United States elections. Well, back to you.
Yeah, we don't hope this happen again. We hope the midterm election next year will be safe and will be without any CCP interference. Hopefully we can take them down by end of this year or early next year. Okay, now let's go to Chris.
Okay. The 2020 US presidential elections was stolen in plain sight before the eyes of the entire world. I remember Mr. Bannon saying on his War Room live stream that something would happen in a few hours. Then around 4 a.m. Eastern Time, the vote counts shifted and flipped. The true result of the 2020 election was that Trump won in a landslide, but mainstream media and social media suppressed the truth. CNN, MSNBC, ABC, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter were all pro-CCP. Even Fox fired Mr. Tucker Carlson for reporting the truth about January 6th. At the time, only the GTV platform detailed evidence of the Biden family's deep collusion with CCP interests. Because GTV was the only platform publishing this evidence without being censored, the entire GTV platform was later sued and taken down. Today, the new FBI director, Mr. Kesh Patel, uncovered evidence that the CCP manufactured fake driver's license to obtain paper bullets. The FBI also released an internal report. The FBI, which was weaponized against President Trump back then, terminated an investigations. This investigation revealed that former director of FBI, Christopher Wray, concealed evidence of CCP interference in the 2020 US presidential elections, attempting to manipulate the election outcome. Certain senior FBI officials not only knew about it, but deliberately suppressed this information. failing to disclose it to the public or the Trump administrations. These actions include cyber attacks, disinformation, campaigns, and social media manipulations targeting American voters. It's clear that this was a coordinated effort between the CCP and American traitors, launching an election theft operation against the US. These American traitors colluding with the CCP must be prosecuted for treason. This election theft not only deceived the American people, but also the entire world. Back then, Taiwan's media citing this fake news source, producing false report. Even now, most people in Taiwan don't know that President Trump was the victim of a rigged election. So I think it's very important to let the world know what's the truth about the 2020 presidential elections. Thank you.
Absolutely, sharing the truth about the CCP is the merit of our program and NFSC. So we're going to continue to expose more truth about the CCP. And there's a third video. We're going to watch it, and we'll discuss about it later.
Calculus and gets assets in place and thinks through how he wants to do this. People have been saying in the media, and not analysts, I mean people at the Pentagon and others, President Trump's calculation here about actually going kinetic is that the issues with the Chinese Communist Party and the alliance they have with the KGB in Moscow. How tight is that alliance, sir, do you think?
Well, Steve, I think it's super tight. I'll let you know the reason later, but Xi is in Central Asia for a couple of days. He's going to be back tonight. One thing he mentioned very importantly is the 2,000-year friendship that they're going to have. And I think the goal here is to create division between the Central Asian countries and the United States. And also to leave a space for them to, when they have a real move in Taiwan and other areas, they can relieve the sanctions and have and get rid of the petrodollar system and have this BRIC nations work together. And also one important topic they talk about is this situation right now. It is a once-in-a-century opportunity for transformation for the Chinese Communist Party and also for those countries, and it is accelerating. So it's a big opportunity for all of them. And so one of the reasons I think very important why Russia cannot be pulled away from the CCP is because of this dictatorship mindset, where they have such a close relationship in secret deals and trades, where Xi Jinping basically controlled the family, the security of Putin's family, and also the assets, and also the relationship. So I think that's it's going to be really naive for people to think, okay, their relationship can be break up really easily. And another aspect, if you look at this whole dynastic, dictatorship of Xi and Putin, like if you look at the meeting in Belarus, like the introduction of his daughter, Xi Mingze, like under the political spotlight, this is really sensitive inside China. Like all the people know this is for succession, and this is the very first time like Mao Zedong even didn't have the chance to do this until he died. And everybody knows that Xi Jinping's brother now is in charge of the state intelligence, and his wife is in charge of the state police, and his daughter's been always in charge of the foreign affair. So this is the key. So everybody needs to understand that the alliance is not going to be easily broken up. But I think this is, like what Forrest said, like the approval rate is like less than 10%. If now like you have a referendum or election in China, like nobody really support this. And now this is Xi Jinping's major goal. Later, like with the collapse of Iran, with the imminent attack on Taiwan, with all the strategic resources grouped together, I think he wants to continue his rule, his family dynastic ruling of China. But I think the revolution is inevitable.
This is why we say it's run by a handful of factions that are wealthy. They're wealthier than the families in the Gulf Emirates. The wealthiest people on earth are the faction heads of the Chinese Communist Party. Forrest, Where do they go to on New Federal State of China, your media page, to get, you guys are doing shows. I'm on a couple of times a week. Where do folks go get all your content and on social media on Getter? Where do they go?
Yeah, they can find us on Getter, and we can NFSC Speaks and also NFSC TV. That's a Chinese program. They can also find us on X, NFSC Speaks.
Thank you. By the way, John Solomon, we're going to try to get John on again tomorrow morning on this other breaking news about this further cover-up. I know John Solomon is quite hot on this. And Ava, I'll talk to you after the show. I want you back on tomorrow night, too, to go through your analysis. This proves something we've been saying and mocked and ridiculed by the mainstream media, that the Chinese Communist Party absolutely wanted a role in the defeat of Trump. They did not want Trump to return to the White House in January of 2021. They had had enough of Trump after a couple of years. So this is a big story. Guys, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming on today. A quite historic day.
Okay, everyone, we just have viewed on the war room, Steve K. Bannon and Roy, they've been discussing about what's the real relationship between Xi Jinping and Putin, okay? And very much in that detail, we can see that they are secretly, both dictators are in a very tight relationship. Both families are actually look after each other. For example, Putin would have his asset and his families in Beijing to be looked after by the Xi's family. And also, in cases Xi has any trouble, and the KGB would come help with Xi. So you can see it's very much the essence of the Sino-Russia alliance, basically equal to the two dictatorships family alliance, to keep them in power, keep the wealth, and hopefully they want to rule both big countries forever. So that's the broad picture I can see. So I would like to ask Nina to give and take what you saw this. Thank you.
Yes. So my opinion is the CCP and Russia, they share the same ideology, like the communist ideology, and they are the biggest criminal organizations. They dictate their own people, they enslave their people, and they stolen their own people's wealth to benefit themselves. And they build up this alliance together, and they recruiting new members to join them, trying to destroy the Western civilization. And we can see over the past years, they without Moscow's warning to the Western world, they probably already successful to take down the Western civilization by 3F America, and also the BGY, they applied to infiltrate the Western system, not only in America, in Europe, and also the rest of the world. This Iran operation happened. This is really intimidate the whole world. Like, who want to join this criminal organization with the CCP, with Russia? There's no good end for you. You have to stop now, and this is a really good thing. And I think this is a pivotal moment of the situation, like stop the CCP trying to destroy the world. And it's also a wake-up call to the Western countries. Now you have to choose a side. To either you stay with the CCP, then what will be the result, or you have a bright future. Back to you.
Great, Nina, thank you. So, okay, Chris, what do you thought?
Okay, so I think the relationship between the KGB and the CCP will be close in the short term, but distant and antagonistic in the long term. The reason for their closeness have been explained and analyzed by Roy in the video. However, in the long term, Xi Jinping is the variable that prevents the KGB and the CCP from truly cooperating. From Xi Jinping's personality and his rise to power, as well as the evolution into the Xi family party, it's clear that back then in the South Putuo plan, the Jiang faction and then the CCP League faction couldn't agree on a candidate. So both sides had to compromise and settle on Xi Jinping, who wasn't the top choice for neither faction. Initially, both factions only wanted Xi to serve one term before replacing him. But they didn't expect Xi Jinping's immense ambition. Once in power, he began purging other factions within the party. If Xi Jinping treats his own CCP comrade like this, imagine how he would deal with the KGB. If Xi's health holds up, he wanted to remain the CCP leader indefinitely. Due to recent health issues, Xi Jinping has been forced to look for a successor from the next generations. Otherwise, stepping down would lead him vulnerable to backlash from other CCP factions. So in the short term, Xi Jinping needs the KGB's help. But in the long term, Xi Jinping can never truly coexist peacefully with the KGB. The relationship between Xi Jinping and Biden is another example. To Xi Jinping, Biden is just a puppet because the Biden family's dirty secrets are all in the CCP's hands. So are Xi Jinping and Biden equal? No, on the contrary, the CCP controls Biden. Xi Jinping is completely uncontrollable. Only absolute strength can crush Xi Jinping. So these pro-CCP factions in the US dreaming of sharing controls of the world with Xi Jinping are delusional. Only by helping the Chinese people to take down the CCP can we be saved and can the world have real peace. That's how I think. Thank you.
Yes, well said. Thank you, Chris. Okay, and now I think our time is up. Nina, would you like to draw some conclusion to finish our program, please?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So today we covered the three main topics. One is Iran. This is the breakthrough result. Like it's literally destroying the CCP's geopolitical plan in the Middle East. And also the good news from FBI that they found convincing evidence CCP interfered with the US election. And also the CCP's biggest ally, Russia, based on our analysis, eventually they will break up. So we are waiting for this moment to happen, and I believe this moment will happen soon. And once this happens, CCP is also collapsing.
Yes, well, absolutely, I agree with both of you. And so let's working very hard to keep exposing the CCP, and let's see that the CCP will be game over and will free all our brothers and sisters inside China. We like to live in peacefully with the rest of the Western world. And we also like to see Moscow being freed, the ASAP together. We continually to nail down the CCP, so they will never exist in this world, in this globe. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
他们的恐惧是我们的武器，我们的胜利。谢谢了，兄弟姐妹们，你们健身了吗？行动，行动，行动！中共，你完了 ！Take down the CCP！
beginning for the games you want to play. Bring it on and I will fight to the end. Just watch and see. It's all started, everything's begun, and you are over. Cause we're taking down the CCP. Spread the word all through Hong Kong. We will fight till they're all gone. We rejoice when there's no more. Let's take down the CCP. They have all lied for too long. We will end what they do wrong. Spread the word all through Hong Kong. Let's take down the CCP. Let the bullets fly a little longer, and you will surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. We will have freedom to live. We will win. You'll surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. 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 Let the bullets fly a little longer.
干灭中国共产党这个 CCP， 才能让我们远离恐惧。Take down CCP.
They try to scare the nation with fabrication, but we see through the lies. We won't fall, we will fight you back. Police corruption with crooked assumption. They ran our lives, but no more. We will win, we will take down the CCP. Spread the word all through Hong Kong. We will fight till they're all gone. We rejoice when there's no more. Let's take down the CCP. They have all lied for too long. We will end what they do wrong. Spread the word all through Hong Kong. Let's take down the CCP. Let the bullets fly a little longer, and you will surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. We will have freedom to live. We will win. You'll surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. Let the bullets fly a little longer.
站起来吧！
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
站起来吧！
Let the bullets fly a little
为
longer.
奴役的人
Let
们
the bullets fly a little longer.
行动！
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
行动！
Let the bullets fly a little
你
longer.
完了
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
！Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer. Bullets fly a little longer, and you will surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. We will have freedom to live. We will win. You'll surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down the evil CCP.